I want to welcome everybody to our second session of our EdgeX Foundry Adopter Series, where we hear from EdgeX adopters. This has been a real huge hit, folks, so far. I want to thank Henry, Camillo, all the folks involved with the vertical solutions and helping us organize and put this on. Had a great session with Accenture a few weeks ago. Today, we thank and welcome Thundersoft. Thundersoft will present its use of EdgeX through its product TurboX Smart Core platform, as well as other engagements as one of the world's largest system integrators. Founded in 2008, Thundersoft is headquartered in China and has thousands of employees worldwide. TurboX is an open platform for IoT and smart devices. And I think if you take a look at some of their online material, you'll find the X and TurboX logo has a lot of similarities to our EdgeX X, and I'm guessing that's by design. Presenting today is Pengcheng Zhao. He is CTO of Thundersoft. He has been at Thundersoft for 11 years, starting out as Director of Product and Marketing, then went to VP of Strategy and Business Development, Senior VP, and now CTO since 2016. Prior to joining Thundersoft, Pengcheng also held positions at Sigfox, Hacker, and NEC. Please join me in welcoming Pengcheng. Pengcheng, again, thank you, and we will let you share your screen and take it from here.
Thanks, James, for the introduction, and also thanks Harry for inviting us for this meeting. And I will share my screen. Let me see here. Okay. Yeah. So can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, great. Okay, so
and Pengcheng, you might want to speak a little bit louder.
Okay. Yeah. How about now? Better or worse?
Yes, just fine. Yes.
How about better? Okay. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, again, it's a pleasure for me to be here to have some introduction about Thundersoft. So it's not just a commercial, I can assure you. It's all related to the topic like EdgeX as well as general edge computing. We would like to share our perspective, what we see in the market, what customers we're serving, and most importantly, what EdgeX involving in these cases. So please stop me anytime for any question. So first, like James said, we founded 2008, about 12 years ago. It's a pretty young company. We have about over 6,000 people, mostly engineers. I used to be engineer as well, like Linux development. We cover over about 28 cities. Maybe most are close to where you are. We have some city in Europe, German, Munich, Sofia, and Helsinki. We also have a United States headquarters in San Diego, and I'm based in Beijing. So what do? We are more like an operating system for the mobile, or you to call it embedded devices. So we have 4 business units. Mobile, more like a mobile phone here, and IoT, I believe this is a major topic today, and also automotive, as well as the vision and AI division, serve those 3 bigger business groups. So basically, we provided operating system related technology and services for something like this kind of hardware, system of modules, kit, and later I will show you some of our edge computing related SOMs and development kits, and also some middleware like security, like AI, and of course also the edge computing middleware, very important. So here some of our partners, I believe some here, and We work very closely with like Intel, is also the founder of EdgeX, I believe, and also Qualcomm, also the member here, I believe. And they are actually our shareholders as well, because we're doing operating systems, so we have to be close to them, as well as some cloud vendors like AWS, Youre, such as that. So very brief overview. And I will pass this a little bit history, just one thing to say. When we started 2008, that's because of the mobile phone is taking off. So we provide this Android-based smartphone enhanced operating system. Now we actually about 5 years ago, we entered another area like automotive and also IoT. Actually, we view those devices very similar to the smartphone we saw about more than 10 years ago. The only difference is the problem is getting more complicated, and that may also mean we have more opportunities. So similar problem, we're using similar approach, but different technology, of course. Yep. So this is a mobile. I will pass that. So actually, this is how we started. We developed a reference design for Qualcomm called the Qualcomm reference design. And here, later, we would also discuss and suggest some similar reference design for EdgeX, edge computing as well, because this concept and design works pretty well for that smartphone era, so that the customer and the developer take much less time and much easier for them to develop the product and the technology on top of those enhanced operating system. So the turnkey solution is how we benefit and how we started this company. So we would like to migrate that company in edge computing as well. Even nowadays, although smartphones, they're all the same, but still they have a lot of innovations. Like what we show here. We have a flip phone, we have a modular phone, we even have this dual camera, panorama phone, and of course this kind of luxury phone, more like a virtual, but a little bit cheaper. But anyway, this smartphone also quite related to edge computing, because that's a central hub for some of our customers view smartphone actually is a central for the edge computing as well. So as well mentioning. Another business unit is automotive. So automotive, we view this as also a kind of a special IoT device. Here with this architecture, generally speaking, is similar to smartphone. We have kernel, we have hypervisor, and on top of that, we have a lot of engine. Actually, some engines actually we required, like Kanzi. This is what we acquired almost 3 years ago, Finland 3D engine company, and also a lot of open source pieces, of course, JStreamer, OpenCL, all this kind of thing. And on top of that would be those applications like IVI, infotainment cluster. This is a very special IoT device, and also edge computing is quite important here as well. Later I will show you some cases for the edge computing being used in the automotive. Right side is some of our customers we served and some partners we engaged. Customer like this Ford and GM, they're all our customers, a lot of China OEMs, car makers, and also tier ones. Those chip vendors and some component, software, hardware component vendor are our partners. Then IoT. Okay, so this slide show the product in general in this IoT area. So from left side would be the system module, and based on system module, we build some kind of reference design and the development kit, and some also end product. And those serve as more like a horizontal infrastructure, horizontal modules to serve those vertical market. Generally speaking, it's like this. And the vertical market, including the AR, VR, smartphone, smart camera, robotics, drone, wearables, such as that. Then EdgeX. So actually, we joined EdgeX just almost 1 year ago, but it's growing very fast, both internally and also our customer base. So this slide shows what we have, what customer we have, what product we provide. As I mentioned, for edge computing, we also have the SOMs built for edge computing, and also the development kit, including the AI edge in general, and also specific area like a robotics kit. We provide those kits based on those modules. And the solutions developed on top of those kits and the SOMs, like smart vehicle, like smart retail. Later I have more details about those verticals. And bottom left side would be some typical customers. Some I have to hide it. Some we have the permission to show. For example, like SMCC, we're building some edge computing reference for SMCC terminal division for the smart home. For Southern Grid, one of the two biggest or only power grid in China, we provided the edge computing for the monitoring system for their distribution station, such as that. And also some other carriers, other type of customers, carrier cloud vendors, device vendors, such as that. And all those things cannot be done without the ecosystem and the community. So we visit the community we engaged, EdgeX, of course, and also Monaro, Unity Foundation and others. And there's many Chinese alliance we joined as well, related to edge computing. And also, of course, edge computing cannot be done without the cloud side. So we have very close partnership with those cloud vendors as well. So that's the overview about our edge business, edge computing business and the related products. This a little bit more details about the different category of the product, like from left side, the edge kit, AI kit. We got certified for different cloud vendors and based on different chipsets, like Intel, Qualcomm, most specifically, and also HiSilicon. We loaded with them with solution and algorithms and build those kind of products for our customers, simply put like that. And we also engage with community to develop more algorithms, mostly applications, based on those development kit. So this concept worked pretty well for general purpose embedded IoT, smart IoT, AI development, and also edge computing. So this is some architecture, very general architecture we provide to the developer and the customers. You can see share very similarity with EdgeX with some differences. Like we enhanced the multimedia, we call this Edge Stream. We also enhanced a little bit about the device communication, because it's Edge Connect, so that the communication can go beyond the device. Actually, the device can talk to each other as well, not just to the sensors or the cloud. So those are something we are focusing. And the most part, we leverage the EdgeX code base and also some other open source projects. So that's very general architecture of our Edge platform. We call this TurboX Edge. this a little bit more details about our engagement with EdgeX and as well as EdgeX China. I see Gavin here as well. So we work together with Gavin and other folks to organize this EdgeX China project. And as part of those efforts, we added some features to the EdgeX, some still in progress of upstreaming. For example, like ROS. So we enabled ROS in EdgeX architecture. Generally speaking, it's like you can use EdgeX for your robotics so that your robotics can have more sensors to engage, much easier to connect to the cloud. And so that's the benefits EdgeX given to the ROS robotics operating system. And also we are more focusing in this multimedia architecture. So we engaged, I believe the upstream also working on Unweave. We also did some Unweave profile, and we are doing that as well. And of course, also more cloud engagement and the general device virtualization. So go beyond the one device, actually multiple devices can work together based on the EdgeX infrastructure. Of course, more ecosystem engagement. We show some example here. For example, this is the robotics running EdgeX and ROS for automotive manufacturing. Basically, this robotic take the parts and to the engineer to repair and to fix something. So this is a robotics for the parts supply. And we also did some demo for the factory manufacturing and also some general purpose edge device computing box as well. As Jim mentioned, so we also see some gap and mostly opportunity or requirement based on our customers. For example, of course, customer all need more sensor protocol support we provide. And as we mentioned, the robotics customer, we view them as a special edge computing customer as well. So we engage with them by providing the ROS and more like enhanced G-Streamer system as well, so that they can program video processing much easier. Because most of our customers we saw actually doing mostly video processing, camera processing at the edge. So this is quite important to some customers we engaged. And also this we call this Edge Plus. We show it in the right side. Because when we started this company, we see the power and the needs for the reference design for customer to build more smart devices. So similarly for the edge computing, we see the similar requirements. And for the reference design hardware, no matter if it's a Raspberry Pi, the general hardware, or some special reference design for different chipset vendor, all need to be bundled with some good to use operating system and the middleware like EdgeX, so that the solution developer, OEM, ODM, and the customer can build their application much easier. So because of that, we propose this kind of EdgeX Plus or Edge Plus kind of effort. We already started the planning at James' suggestion. So we try to help to enable better support for Raspberry Pi. And meanwhile, we would also propose and jointly define and provide this edge computing reference design for EdgeX, Intel-based, Qualcomm-based, either way. And of course, collecting and building some reference solutions as well. Okay. All right. Okay, so the last part would be the verticals. I believe this is a major topic today. And This is the perspective we saw this edge computing market. We entered IoT, smart IoT market about 5 years ago. And then we have this, at that time, called this embedded AI or on-device AI. Actually, we saw is the same as edge computing. So in this 1 year also, we see this change. For example, the edge computing is emerging. Not just the right side of the paper, the number of paper published. We saw the same pattern about more than 6-7 years ago for the AI. So this shows something that edge computing is taking off. And meanwhile, last year we have about 2 customers. Now we have about more than 10 customers. So also show something about the market is getting more mature than before. And when we say mature, that means in these particular verticals. For example, smart city, industrial, automotive, robotics. Actually, we see more customers here. Some other area like smart home, smart office, healthcare may still take more time. Again, this is based on our perspective and the customer we're engaging. So just for your reference. And also we saw the effort that the standardization and also the effort to improve the testing procedure is getting more accelerated. Actually, some alliance, some part we're also involved. For example, this alliance of industrial internet. This is organized by some kind of MII, agency. So it's more like an alliance of edge computing in China. So they're getting some effort together with Japan, edge cross to build some kind of a standardization for the edge computing in general. So that will be a very interesting development direction effort to watch. And third would be, of course, the SoC vendor, cloud vendor, they're all taking actions. Actually, I saw one question here about the green grass. Actually, back to 2000, I forgot, 15 also, actually, when the green grass first announced, actually, we are the first one enabled green grass on Qualcomm platform. But that take another 2 or more years to for customer really get to use it. But that's how the edge computing started by the cloud vendor. Of course, Azure and Ali, they all have their own version of edge computing. For example, Alibaba, Aliyun had this Link Edge. We also integrated with our TurboX platform as well. So all these things, opportunity and ecosystem effort showing some demand for the end-to-end solution. So single technology is not enough. We'll see. We must have the solution because especially to the industrial, not just to consumer, to be business, we believe is the future of the edge and of course AI and 5G. So those customers, they do not care too much about the underneath IT technology. All they want is the ROI and how they can achieve this ROI through those technology. So end-to-end solution very important. So here we show some end-to-end solution in different category. One is retail. We show some demo together with Intel last year, and basically this is a smart retail solution hooked up with all the sensors, camera, pulse, as well as the RFID sensor. So all these sensors work together, combined into this edge computing device, and try to figure out the behavior of the customer. So that's the demo we're building. And we also have some customer, one of the biggest retail customer in US as well, doing the self-checkout. with more AI capability. So that's another example. So retail also taking off. Power grid, another example for the industrial. This is a power distribution station. Some smaller ones, some bigger one, but they have a similar requirement like this. So try to enforce the security regulation for the power grid company. Because believe it or not, making money is not the one, not the biggest purpose, because it's a state-owned company. The most important thing is not to losing any life, because if you lose some workers to this station, then the CEO will be in big trouble. So that's why they spend a lot to enforce the security procedure. And edge computing is very important because they do not trust the cloud. They themselves actually are building some kind of cloud. So they have to do something in-house. And also this fast response time also important to them. And they need also to process multiple cameras. Some require 24 cameras in the single room. So they need a very powerful edge computing device to do this. So that's one example. And also another example is the factory, smart factory. This is the project we did last year for one of the biggest screen or LCD manufacturing in China. And they need this quality inspection system. And actually, that's probably one of the few AI application that actually makes sense, other than the surveillance camera, which is quite controversial. But this one actually very got very easy, very quick ROI. So after deployment this for less than 1 year, they already got all this money back by increasing their quality and reducing the labor, actually by 70% off for the labor reduction. So that's another example of the edge computing, because initially it's just a cloud-based. Everything goes to the some public cloud because it's easy to deploy. Then later they have, after the proof of concept, they have a concern of the security, and but they also do not have much IT worker to manage the system. So we propose this kind of hybrid mode, edge computing plus cloud. Actually, that's currently how this deployed. Actually, this is getting a very good result. So that's one example. Sorry for Chinese, I will pause that. This is you can see the photo here is basically a central heating company. Actually manage the heating system, also use edge computing, simply because of the reliability. Each building they deploy 4 units, very cheap. Also, they want to reduce the cost and to manage the local heating system. That's another edge computing scenario. For the smart city, this is the device we deployed for the CMCC retail store, and basically for the VIP monitoring to follow and recognize the VIP customers. So that's already deployed in some, say, CMCC China Mobile retail store in Beijing. This is actually 2 projects we building, one in China, one in US. Similar concept is this smart streetlight system using edge computing, because they will add more sensors and more capability, AI capability later. So they would like to have a more flexible architecture. So edge computing architecture, EdgeXbased, is very flexible enough for them to adopt. So we have those 2 customers are using that right now. Okay, for Streetlight. Oh, sorry, this is an English version. Sorry, I forgot to remove the Chinese version. But again, this is a central heating system using edge computing to manage. Smart home, very interesting, but probably a little bit slower. That's why we are engaging with some carrier to build some proof of concept for the smart home. And simply because some of the people there and also some of us believe actually the EdgeBox, not the AI speaker, there's our Alexa speaker. We believe that's not the central hub of the smart home. We believe EdgeBox is. So, since we are not sure and the carrier are not sure either, so that's why we work together to build some kind of reference proof of concept, showing here, right side. Basically, we again use EdgeX as an infrastructure underneath to build some kind of new user experience so that the smart devices in the home can seamlessly talk to each other, connect to each other. Simply put, it's like that. Much easier than you scan the barcode and download the application and punch in the password of Wi-Fi and connect to the cloud. It's very troublesome for those consumer to use the smart device in the home. We believe things can certainly be improved by using edge computing technology, including the EdgeX data source, microservices, the cloud access, as well as some enhancement we put there, like we call this distributed computing infrastructure through this data bus connect between different edge devices. So smart home, very interesting, but may take some more time. And the robotics already happening. This red color on the right side category, like home robot, commercial cleaning robot, service robot, and companion robot. Actually, those are all our customers. We provided the either solution or the modules, like iRobot, like Sony. They're all our customers, SoftBank, and also some service robot company in China. So robotics, we're interested in that and also engaging with those customers, not only because it's a good business, but also because we believe robotics is the key for the edge computing technology. So it's actually integration of all the important technology, like real-time processing, like AI camera, 3D sensing, everything put together. So this is some robotics verticals we're seeing, and some already taking off in the market for years, like a home cleaning robot. Most people have that, but also some commercial cleaning and the service robot also start taking off because of the 5G and AI, and of course also edge computing technology. The last category would be the vehicle. We can now show the names because they're all big wonders. We cannot disclose too much, but generally speaking, is the vehicle getting more intelligence requirement. The example here, we show actually a trunk actually installed more than 10 cameras. And those 10 cameras have to be processed in the vehicle for the driver behavior, for the road environment, as well as the inventory they would like to check as well, those kind of things. So they need to do all this kind of algorithm, like the driver management, ADAS, surrounding view, and all these cameras have to be synchronized and processed very quickly. So edge computing is a perfect technology area to be used here. Okay, so vehicle also very important vehicle. Because of that, so starting last year, we start to engaging and promoting this edge computing by doing this Edge Intelligence Conference because the community and also our customers, partners, frankly speaking, also need some kind of education and understanding about edge computing. So we use this picture to show why edge computing is so important, because not everything is the cloud, not everything is the device, and something more important actually is sitting in the middle, this edge computing. Believe it or not, actually some customers take this concept. They believe answer their needs for either security or real-time processing, including the distributed computing concept. More and more people getting adopted for this concept. So this year we're going to do the similar thing. And meanwhile, we work together with EdgeX community, like EdgeX China, VMware, Intel, for the edge concept, edge computing, EdgeX contest is ongoing contest right now, similar to this effort. Okay, so that's the general introduction about our company and our involvement in EdgeX and edge computing. So any questions we would like to address? Thanks.
Pengcheng, thanks so much. We do have quite a few questions that come in on the chat, but before I start with some of those questions, does anybody have a question they'd like to ask live here? And if not, Pengcheng, let me go kind of to a couple of questions that came in online here through the chat. We had one from Joe Pearson. He asked, I'm curious how Thundersoft supports EdgeX on Android. I think you mentioned that during your presentation, Pengcheng.
Yeah, actually, this is a very good question. Actually, currently it's not supported. We would like to have that. You can see all these device edge reference design. Yeah, we saw here. Actually, I'm not sure we have an Intel folks here or not. So Intel has, of course, pretty good support for Linux, and Android is okay. So they may not have much effort, interest, I'm not sure. But for other vendors, especially Qualcomm, on the other side, they're more interested in Android. So we do have some customers asking for the Android, for example, for the smart camera, and simply because of the Android ecosystem. But currently, the only option we have for them in order to use edge computing and including ROS, they have to.
Did we lose Pengcheng?
Pengcheng, are you still there? We lost your voice. Pengcheng, you still there? Can anybody else hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah,
okay,
I
thanks.
can hear you.
Yeah, his share is lost. I think he's lost his network connection.
Oh, sorry. How about now?
Hi, Pengcheng, you're back?
You're there.
Ah, sorry.
We got you. Not a problem, Pengcheng.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, the connection maybe got connected. I'm not sure where I got lost. But
just the last few sections. I think we heard your answer to the Android question, Pengcheng. Just the last few seconds of that answer, mate.
Okay. All right. So simply put, we do see customers need this Android. We do not have such offering, and so currently we're doing is we take some of the feature of the EdgeX, for example, some protocol support, backport to the Android, not the whole infrastructure, and also, of course, Docker is not supported for Android as well. So there's a lot of effort need to be done. Again, this is something definitely good to have. We'd like to have a community, work together with community to do that. We're not doing it right now, not the whole thing. Yeah.
Pengcheng is kind of a follow-up to that. Do you see something like EdgeX as being instrumental in actually bringing data through Android to some other system, or would the Android device be more of a vision into the data flow and commands that might need to be actuated back down?
Actually, in my opinion, at this point, so it really depends on the customer needs. At this point, most people just asking for Android. So actually, Android need EdgeX, so we put EdgeX to Android, and not the other way around. Not people, at least most customers, they are not asking for EdgeX. EdgeX either need more promotion or more example, we are doing it right now, and also more killer feature need to be added. But we do believe in 1 or 2 years, because we're doing something here as well. And there are going to be more, we call this a killer feature and a killer scenario we can present to customers. Then they will, take EdgeX first. Then they worry about whether it's Linux or Android. Actually, we do see that's the future because middleware is the key, not the kernel, or in our opinion. Okay.
Thanks, Pengcheng. Got another question here from Jim St. Ledger. He's asking, I'd like to understand the relationship between Thundersoft's use of EdgeX and support for Amazon Greengrass, Azure IoT, Aliyun. Are they related, or do we just support lots of methodologies?
Yeah, actually it's related. For example, for the Greengrass, it's very complementary because we already added this Greengrass into this EdgeX because Greengrass mostly much easier way to connect to the cloud and to do this data buffering. So this is something like in the EdgeX, we believe, and EdgeX has something also we believe the cloud vendor need for the microservice infrastructure. Of course, actually, some cloud vendor are doing more for the IoT. For example, Aliyun has more their own operating system, unlike Amazon, although they have FreeRTOS. So, but we believe one thing is, different company has a different culture, different focus. So it's very hard for cloud vendor to do, I put it this way, a good job for the device. We see all this pattern. And so that's why we see, even for now, is a good complementary status between this EdgeX and also the even the device side cloud pieces. So it's very coherent to combine those two together, at least for now. Yeah, so they're related, to answer the question. And we support lots of methodologies. Actually, from the user customer perspective, this actually, some customers we saw, they would like to have this edge computing infrastructure to support this kind of multi-cloud. So usually the customer do not want to be bundled with one cloud vendor or one chip vendor or one sensors. So actually this shows the value, we believe, of EdgeX by providing this abstraction layer for the north side and the south side, so that give these customers flexibility to choose. So in that sense, actually, it's important to customers, also to the cloud vendors, hopefully. Okay.
Thanks, Pengcheng. Maybe just to follow up on that, even though you say most vendors or most customers don't want to be locked into a particular cloud vendor, from your perspective there in China, are you seeing any particular of the cloud vendors leading? Any cloud vendor that EdgeX should be maybe more closely aligned with to make sure the integration is tighter?
Yeah, we're more like a device side. But we'll give you some two cents of ours for your reference. We only have this, I don't know, 3A, Azure, AWS, Alibaba, plus also maybe Tencent and Baidu. We have some other cloud as well. So actually, from our side, we currently engaging those 3A mostly. Not just because of their marketing share, but also they have a different base of the customers. For example, if customer need to go globalized, actually usually they will prefer AWS and Microsoft some sort. And some, if they want to have a better support, actually they're getting better for AWS. We are helping them as well, frankly speaking. But if they do want to have at this point better support or some government project, we have this kind of unfortunate this kind of tension. But some government project they may prefer some local cloud vendors. But generally, we select I think it's a 3 big one. We are neutral. We use EdgeX as an infrastructure and tell customers, whatever you choose, I can support you. So that's the story we're talking.
Do we have other questions from folks online?
Yes.
Anybody want to speak up? One other question in the chat window, we've got Pengcheng from Andy. He asked, does Thundersoft use open source software for their AI engine? And if so, what are you using?
Yes, we do. If you mean AI engine means this TensorFlow or Cafe or this, if that's the case, then we PyTorch, we're using that. Mostly we're using would be TensorFlow and TensorFlow Lite. But there's one catch here because we have the AI division, but our AI is quite different from those AI company, mostly Ethernet company, is because we are more focusing on the device side. And for the device side, usually, of course, you need more optimization and power reduction, this kind of thing. Usually, you have to work with closely with the chip vendors. For example, Intel, for the retail project, we work together with Intel group IOTG and using their OpenVINO. And for Qualcomm has similar infrastructure, but less sophisticated is their SMPE. So we're using that. SMPE is not open source, but they can convert open source engines model to the SMPE format. So that's usually what we use. HiSilicon has a similar architecture. They are opening the code base, their high AI infrastructure. We're using that for the HiSilicon base as well. So hope that answers your question. That's the open source engine we're using.
Pengcheng, you mentioned a lot of use cases that you went through and working with a lot of different customers. How do you typically deploy your EdgeX-based applications to the platforms? Is that factory install? Are you using things like cloud native Kubernetes, homegrown solution? How are you getting the application deployed?
Currently, it's like FOTA is used mostly. FOTA or secure OTA. So currently, we're using OTA to upgrade the whole thing. That is still the most used cases. And we do have some customers, for example, we saw here, like some carrier, like a SoftBank. We're deploying their edge infrastructure using some kind of Kubernetes-based infrastructure. That case is getting more and more adoption. But currently, most customers we're engaging right now still using the old-fashioned FOTA-based system maintenance mechanism.
Thanks, Pengcheng. Other questions from folks online? A quiet group here today.
I have a question. This is Brad from Intel.
Yeah, Brad.
Thank you for sharing. I'm kind of curious, when you rank the values of EdgeX, are you attracted to the capabilities of the platform and how you can extend and integrate, or are you attracted by the community and the number of people who know how to use it in your customer markets? How do you value those different capabilities of EdgeX?
Yeah, the reason that we are interested and not just use but also contributing EdgeX for several reasons. Of course, the code base we see is very solid. The community is very broad and healthy. That's of course we saw from day one. But most importantly, is because of one reason. Is we are a kind of operating system company. We start using Linux, then Android, more often for smartphone, then more Linux also, and then Atos. We believe that in this next 5 or 10 years, we need a new type of operating system for IoT. But the question is, what would that be like, and who will be the one to provide that? Is that Google, or I don't know, Huawei or Alibaba? Our belief, or more like a guess or a bet, is going to be a Linux guide community, Linux type of community, to provide the crucial infrastructure for the IoT operating system. Now we're putting our bet into EdgeX. Hopefully that's not the wrong one. Okay, I'm not sure I answered your question, but that's why we select and contribute.
Oh, you did. Thank you for your insight. Thank you.
Yeah.
Others, we probably have time for about one more question. Pengcheng, you mentioned that one of the things you saw as maybe a need or something that EdgeX should try to do is provide more southbound connectivity. Is there a particular protocol or type of device that you think is the top of that list for needs in terms of connectivity?
Oh, actually, there's two kinds. One is, for example, like some commercial protocols like Siemens. We have some customers asking for Siemens 200, this kind of thing. We have no code how to do it. So that's one example. Some proprietary protocol support for that. And there's another side is a little bit higher level kind of protocol support. For example, more like a multimedia kind of protocol engaging. I know this is probably not a plan for the EdgeX, not focus, but that's also very important for the multimedia component to be hooked up together, different codec to be connected. And we used to use a GStreamer, but the GStreamer got some problem. It's not designed for edge computing, and also it has some also a problem for the performance and this such as that. So we're working on, we mentioned something here called the EdgeStream, similar to the NVIDIA DeepStream, which is a very popular in some AI community. We're using that as well. So we believe there's a much need for such kind of infrastructure for EdgeX as well. So we're working on that part for the southbound, or more like a little bit south, maybe east kind of protocol engagement. Yeah.
And when you say multimedia, is that primarily just video that you're talking about, Pengcheng, or are there other multimedia elements that you're looking at?
Currently, more than 95% of customers are doing edge computing mostly using camera and video. And we do see some manufacturing, they're want to processing some sound or voice, but majority is still camera based data. That's why we're working on this streaming infrastructure to integrate that with EdgeX architecture. Video first, yes.
Pengcheng, thanks so much. Our great thanks for your time and presenting. I know it's quite late over there. I think it's coming up on midnight, so very much appreciate that. Also, thanks to Henry, Camilo, Andy, May, and for all the efforts the marketing team put to get the word out on this. Another a great series here, or I should say a presentation as part of our series in the Adopter series, so thanks. For those of you who have any additional questions that you'd like to ask, please feel free to forward those to me, and I'll see if I can't work to make those available to Pengcheng, get some answers from you. The presentation plus the recording will be available online. Henry's dropped that in the chat window, so you can find that on our wiki coming up a little bit later this afternoon. Again, thanks so much, Pengcheng. We really appreciate it. Great presentation, and we look forward to hearing and talking with everybody a little bit later on. Thanks all.
Thank you, Pengcheng.
Thank
you, Jim.
Yeah,
Thanks everyone
for having me. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yep. Thanks.